one Muhammad, Hani, Ahmed. This is Muhammad.
She said Muhammad.
Ahmed. This is Muhammad.
She said Muhammad before.
Who's Muhammad? Oh, this is Muhammad.
She said Muhammad before.
Who's Muhammad? Oh, you?
No.
This is Muhammad.
She said Muhammad before.
Who's Muhammad? Oh, you?
No.
You?
No.
You're Kenya.
Oh,
Uthman, you're Kenya. Musa?
Hello?
Muhammad Musa.
Yeah.
Muhammad Musa.
Yeah.
Muhammad Musa.
Yeah. تمام. Put your bags. يلا hurry, don't stop here. Only surround us for here.
السلام عليكم bro. I got my passport, no?
عفوا. Oosh. Take the Syrian passport. I forget to give you the passport. Get it. It's nice. يلا go. تمام. يلا. Just wait. It's not close.
Many people say ISIS is not Islamic because they have killed more Muslims than non-Muslims. ISIS has been criticized for killing Muslims as well as non-Muslims because this is in apparent defiance of the Quran's injunction, never is it for a believer to kill a believer except by mistake. So in their own defense, partisans of the Islamic State have argued not on prudential, but on Islamic theological grounds, making copious reference to Islamic sources. They've portrayed the murderous behavior of the Islamic State as legitimate jihad, operations that every Muslim should endorse. Responding to similar criticism 10 years ago, Iraqi jihad leader Abu Musab az-Zarqawi, the leader of the al-Qaeda group that ultimately became ISIS, insisted that his group was behaving in a strictly Islamic manner. He took for granted that Muslims had a responsibility before Allah to wage war against unbelievers. Zarqawi said, "There's no doubt that Allah commanded us to strike the kuffar, that is unbelievers, kill them, and fight them by all means necessary to achieve the goal." He emphasized that any means at all were permissible in this endeavor. He said, "The servants of Allah who perform jihad to elevate the word of Allah are permitted to use any and all means necessary to strike the active unbeliever combatants for the purpose of killing them, snatch their souls from their body, cleanse the earth from their abomination, and lift their trial and persecution of the servants of Allah. This goal must be pursued even if the means to accomplish it affect both the intended active fighters and unintended passive ones, such as women, children, or any other passive category specified by our jurisprudence." Az-Zarqawi was arguing, in other words, that operations such as 9/11 were fully sanctioned by Islamic law even if women and children were killed in them. And that remained true, he argued, even if Muslims were killed as collateral damage. He said, "This permissibility extends to situations in which Muslims may get killed if they happen to be with or near the intended enemy, and if it is not possible to avoid hitting them or separate them from the intended kafirs. Although spilling sacred Muslim blood is a grave offense, it is not only permissible, but it is mandated in order to prevent more serious adversity from happening, stalling, or abandoning jihad that is." Now, Zarqawi was killed over 2 years before Barack Obama became president, and 8 years before Obama said ISIL, as he calls the Islamic State, is not Islamic. Obama said no religion condones the killing of innocents, and the vast majority of ISIL's victims have been Muslim. Obama was assuming that because its victims were Muslim, the Islamic State must not be Islamic. However, ISIS's foremost founding figure had long before that explained why this was a false assumption. Moreover, as far as Zarqawi was concerned, those who denied that it was permissible to kill Muslims in jihad operations were enabling the victory of the infidels over the Muslims and the consequent disunity and subjugation of the worldwide Muslim community. He said, if one says that we must not allow the killing of Muslims under any circumstance, especially in light of modern war tactics, this means nothing except stalling or permanently abandoning jihad. This will lead to handing over the land and people to the unbelievers who are full of hate for Islam and Muslims. The unbelievers will have a free hand to humiliate and persecute Islam and Muslims will be forced to live by kafir rules and be treated like slaves. Many Muslims will be pressured or forced to give up their religion. Islam will be altered, modified, and replaced with another form that will be totally different from that which was revealed to the one who was sent with the sword. Peace and prayer be upon him. Of course, he's referring to Muhammad. The principles Zarqawi delineated would become the hallmarks of the Islamic State. That any means were acceptable in fighting against and killing non-Muslims, which was an Islamic responsibility, and that it was acceptable to kill fellow Muslims in service of the goal of implementing Islamic law over the entire world.
Girls leaving Britain to join ISIS in Syria. UK officials are now frantically trying to find them and bring them back to their families before they can cross the border. Right now, the international hotspot, Turkey. Hello, everyone. I'm Ty Hernandez in New York. British officials are in Turkey today, working with Turkish authorities on trying to get the girls back before they can cross the border into Syria. The three girls, all younger than 17, attended the Bethnal Green Academy in East London. The school reopened today after an end-of-term recess, and the BBC's Daniel Samford was there.
Arriving at school this morning, the pupils of Bethnal Green Academy. Set in the heart of London's multicultural East End, the school is rated outstanding by Ofsted. But it's reeling from the revelation that this half-term, three bright teenage girls, due to take their GCSEs this summer, have run away to Turkey and seem to be heading for Syria.
We're all shocked and deeply saddened by the news that three of our students have been reported missing from home. This situation follows an earlier disappearance of a student in December of last year. The police spoke to the student's friends at that time, and further to this, they indicated that there was no evidence that the girls were at risk of being radicalised or absconding.
Parents dropping their children off said the school was not to blame.
I think there's an assumption made about a school in East London that's attended by a lot of Muslim children. I think people are quick to blame schools for everything.
The three girls flew out of Gatwick on Tuesday and no one's heard anything from them since. Shamima Begum had been in touch on Twitter with a Scottish woman already in Syria, and a friend of the three from the same year at school travelled there in December and never returned. The assumption is that they're trying to join her. This, in exclusive BBC pictures, is the border zone between Turkey and the part of Syria controlled by Islamic State. This weekend, in the town of Akçakale, there was little sign of any Turkish government control over the border. A people smuggler told us that foreign women wanting to get into Syria are usually brought to the town by Turkish smugglers and handed over to IS fighters at the frontier. The handover is always done right on the border, he told us. It's done in the presence of a woman IS member who wait with two IS fighters. But no one the BBC spoke to in the town had seen the three British girls. So it is possible they are still in Turkey.
And we're now joined by ABC's Alex Marquardt from our bureau.
From several corners saying these three teenage girls, if they're heading to Istanbul at the age that they are, that they probably should have been questioned. So disowned her, calling her a disgrace and saying that they're horrified that their daughter may have encouraged these young girls to go. So there are some indications that these three young teenagers into Syria, they'll become what are increasingly known as jihadi brides, most likely. They would be married off to ISIS fighters disowned her, calling her a disgrace and saying that they're horrified that their daughter may have encouraged these young girls to go. So there are some indications that these three young teenagers...
My mum isn't well. She's not doing well. She's my little sister. She still sleeps in the same bed as my mum.